Now from the heavyweights, let's concentrate on the middleweights for the time being, because over the years, Britain has produced some great middleweight champions. Going back in the 50s, there was Randolph Turpin, then of course the unmistakable Terry Downs. I saw Terry actually earlier on, he's here tonight. And in recent years, of course, Alan Minter, and nowadays Tony Simpson. But what about the men of the future? What about the man of the future? Well, many people think we've already seen him here tonight. He's 19-year-old Errol Christie from Coventry. He was one of the best, if not the best, amateur Britain has produced in a long, long time. He turned professional earlier this year. He had one fight, he won that. And tonight, earlier on, he fought a late replacement, Jimmy Ellis from Sheffield. And Christie is the one in the dark trunks.
Seconds out.
So here we go for the London debut for boxing's new wonder boy, Errol Christie, in the blue, darker shorts. A man with an outstanding amateur record, up against Jimmy Ellis from Sheffield, a late substitute this morning because Mick Morris, the Midlander, pulled out because of flu. Errol Christie, a lot is expected of him here at a packed and very hot Bloomsbury Centre. Christie with the tassels on the boots, a la Muhammad Ali, has been talked about, compared with a young John Conte, mentioned in the same breath as Turpin or Sugar Ray Leonard. Really unfair, perhaps, bearing in mind this is only his second professional contest. Ellis, the southpaw from Sheffield, capable sort of opponent, a sort of win-one, lose-one fighter, really. But many people here expect him to give Christie a tougher contest than the original opponent, Mick Morris. Quite a few people down from the Midlands here for this fight, by the sound of things. Christie from Coventry. Apprehensive look on Ellis's face, and when that left hook thudded home, you could probably see why. Christie banging in that right hand too. Goodness me, does unload them with some venom. Although mostly as an amateur, he's outboxed rather than outpunched his opponents. To the last minute of the opening round. Christie on your right. And Jimmy Ellis ducking under that punch and made it miss by a very long way indeed. Perhaps you've seen the pattern of the fight in this first round of 8 of Christie, the aggressor, and Ellis in the red trunks, the counter-puncher. Good opening round, and there he is, Errol Christie. It's always a difficult transition moving up from an amateur. One of 5 boxing brothers, Errol Christie. And there's a bit of talent wandering around with the round board as well. There's Ellis then, called in very late. 118 and lost 9 of his contests. From Sheffield, the southpaw, called in at very late notice, just 24 years of age. But he did beat Mick Morris, the original opponent, in a couple of rounds earlier this year, and that's why people here say that Errol Christie will be in for a tougher fight than his original one.
Seconds out, round 2.
Off we go then for round 2. The 5th round of Errol Christie's professional career that people expect so much of. Christie in terrific condition, says he really enjoying the professional game, although because of the reputation he's carried out of the game where they used to wear the vest, he says professionals are automatically raising their preparation and their performance when they know that he's going to be opposite them in the ring. And that is one thing he's going to have to put up with. Clubbing right hand, and a good combination too. And Ellis in a little bit of trouble on the ropes. Christie throwing a big right hand and following it up with a good combination. Another good scoring left from Christie. And again, that left comes out so fast, and there's two more on the side of the head. Goodness me, that is a good punch. And again, that left hand is really going home regularly now, and Ellis blinking and trying to work out a solution to counter it. 4 or 5 times in this round. Christie with the left hand, and again. What a good punch that is. Perhaps rushing in there where a more inexperienced opponent might have been clubbed there, but Ellis was quickly out of that corner. Little uppercut showing his repertoire, Christie. And there's a bit of a bump appearing perhaps under Ellis's right eye. Really was a bright and vicious start to this second round from Errol Christie. He's got him in the corner there with a good right hand too, so a good start and finish from Christie really to this second round. And he's got him with a right. Count was 3, and Roland Dakin says box on. Another good right going in. Ellis will be happy to hang on for the end of this, I think. He softened him classically, really, with the left and got him with the right. And Ellis, well pleased to hear that bell. Little slap from Ellis of appreciation. Well, that was a good round from Errol Christie. It really was. The left hand softened up his opponent. And then he had him on the floor with what was a very good punch indeed. Look at that look of apprehension. And there was the right hand, and there on the chin, the legs wobbled. The count was 3, and Ellis got up off the floor. And looking at him very closely in the corner now, perhaps he might be wondering whether he was all that wise to take this fight at late notice. Jimmy Ellis ranked at 13 against the new bright young professional of British boxing. There he is, Errol Christie. Unbeaten since he was 14. 59 fights ago.
Round 3.
Round 3 then, and Errol Christie really has looked impressive so far. Felt his way in the first. In the second, he got going with that left hand and produced a little short clubbing right that had Ellis on the floor. And now we look at Christie to see if he can finish the job. Ellis has the reputation of being durable and coming to fight, and he's got a fight on his hands here now, because Christie, with that lovely left hand, is giving the senior pro here a little bit of a boxing lesson. Of course, we might see what Christie is made of if this fight goes rather longer than the 3 rounds that he's used to. Minute gone in the third. Christie looking to continuing the softening up process with the left hand. And there was the right, and again Ellis back on the ropes. Loving right hand, and Ellis really felt that. He's opening him with the left, and he's trying to finish him with the right. And this looks like to be another hard round indeed for Ellis, the late substitute, against the golden boy, Errol Christie. Looked to me as though that right didn't score with the venom of the first one, but it certainly wobbled him. Left and right again, and looking closely at Ellis, all his durability is really being extended here. And again, left and right, and I'm not quite sure how much more Ellis is going to be able to take of this. He's on the retreat and looking very apprehensive about things. Oh, a good left hand, and again, this is Rocky, and Roland Dakin has finished it. Well, once again, a stoppage in the third, his second professional win for Errol Christie. And what an exciting young prospect he looks. He really had his man in a lot of trouble. The legs had gone. Ellis had taken a considerable amount of punishment. And look, he can hardly stand up. The knees are rubbery, and that was the moment when Dakin said, "That's enough, son."
Yes, Errol Christie, the very convincing winner there in the third round. But how true are the stories? I mean, how good is he? Is he the new Sugar Ray Leonard? Is he the best middleweight Britain has ever produced? He's only 19. Well, who better to ask than the man himself, Errol Christie, and his manager, Bert McCarthy. They're both now with Simon Reed.
Errol, pleased with yourself after all that?
Yeah, not too pleased, but I can improve on what I've just done.
What was wrong, Tom?
Well, to begin with, I had to place myself because I don't think I've got the fitness to go sort of 8 rounds straight off. So these sort of fights just get me ready for the big rounds and the longer rounds and the hard work to come in the future.
But you looked in control. You looked, even when you had him in trouble, as if you were pacing yourself. You were still positive, but you weren't flinging punches from all angles.
Yeah, because I think everyone's going to rush in to try and kill a man. You're going to find himself sort of, you know, out of breath, and he's got another 8 rounds to go. So what I had to do was pace myself, just pick my punches all the time. Half the time I wasn't doing anything, but it was all to do with pacing myself.
I know you like to impress, Errol. How much pressure was there on you, though, here in your first fight in London to impress? Did you feel a lot of pressure?
Well, when I took my hat off, I had a lot of steam just blowing out.
But seriously, it didn't worry you?
Well, the pressure did, you know, just before you get in the ring. It's a long wait, you know, to get into the ring, to start fighting. Once you're in there and you've got something to do, it just goes, you know, you just concentrate on the job that you got ahead of you.
Right. If I can turn to your manager now, Bert McCarthy,
No,
I would have thought, you want to keep talking, but you have got, I would think, a delight here, but a major problem. How do you hold him back?
Very difficult. I mean, he's 19 years of age, and I've got to be very, very careful with a boy of this kind of talent. I mean, his opponent tonight is a boy that had 27 fights. He's had 19 wins, 10 knockouts, and Errol, as you've seen what he's done with that type of opposition. And he can't fight for a British title until he's 21 years of age. So I've got, from 19 to 21, I've got to play with him and be very, very careful with the type of opposition I put him in with.
So where do you find the kind of opponents? Are they English, or do you have to import them?
I will find them wherever they are.
Everyone says, though, I mean, we had it in the commentary, that here is a guy who could possibly be Britain's Sugar Ray Leonard. Is that a bit of a noose around his neck?
Errol Christie will answer that question merely by saying, I am Errol Christie, I'm not Sugar Ray Leonard. And I think to compare a young lad with 2 fights with a man as immortal as Sugar Ray Leonard is too much pressure for a boy to have. Errol Christie is going to be Errol Christie, and we hope that the public are going to look upon Errol Christie sometime in the future in the same light as they look upon Sugar Ray Leonard. We hope that.
Do you see yourself as an up-and-coming Sugar Ray Leonard?
Not really. I just see myself as myself, Errol Christie. I don't think I've got the style of Sugar Ray Leonard. I can move, I can make people look silly, and I can outbox people, but I think they're wrong putting me with Sugar Ray Leonard.
But you're ambitious, aren't you, Errol?
I'm very ambitious, yeah. I want the world title.
Right, well, Bert, Errol, thanks very much. Derek, back to you.
Thank you, Simon. He's a bit special, isn't he? Charisma and style. Errol Christie, remember the name, he's on the way up. Right, well, now let's have a look at a light welterweight bout that was on earlier in the evening, and it was another all-action fight because it was between Rocky Kelly, who fights a bit like Rocky Marciano, and Steve Henty, who also rarely takes a step backwards. Rocky Kelly is the man in the black shorts, and our commentator, Jim Rosenthal.
Round 2 then. And Rocky Kelly in the black trunks, who never believes in hanging about. Said he loves the crowd being on his side. He loves the nobbins coming in at the end. That's what he's in the game for. A man that loves to fight. Henty providing rather more complicated opposition than Rocky Kelly might have been used to. Henty is going to have to play things very carefully to keep out of the way of those big bombs that Kelly has got in his armory. And certainly this man Kelly really does take some stopping. Almost though it's an insult for him to take a pace back, coming forward all the time, not really worrying how much leather he stops as long as he gets in a punch at the end of it. Working away with that left hand too. Missed with it there. Henty, a good body puncher, perhaps a bit underrated, but a good opportunity for him here tonight to show what he's made of, to show that he's better than his record suggests. Henty really mustn't get trapped, he knows, on the ropes or in a corner. And he's fought well and just about shaded this round for Marley. Good piece of matchmaking here, really. Henty, honest journeyman, capable, could well go the distance here tonight. Very clever. Up against Rocky Kelly, who's had them on their feet in one or two smaller halls around London. And those two good, solid jabs coming in from Kelly. But it must be said that Henty has worked well with that left hand as well. Henty had a nose operation in June. He says that's helped him a lot to clear up his breathing.
Seconds out. Round 3.
Round 3 then, Rocky Kelly from Acton in Middlesex in black. The puncher, Steve Henty, the 22-year-old from Brighton, the craftsman, and a good body puncher as well. And a fairly even fight so far. You get the impression he's just simmering and perhaps waiting to explode. God, that was a good uppercut that came in there from Kelly. And Henty's head went back for the first time in the contest. Well, there are fighters that you have to create, and fighters that you have to work on, spending many hours in the gym, but you get the impression, looking at Kelly, that he was born to scrap. Henty, slightly taller, slightly more experienced, is proving every bit as difficult as the experts at ringside thought he would. It's coming right on the limit from 10-11 as Henty. And he's happy to hold on there, Henty, and take a big deep breath of air, although I'm not too sure how much good that will do him in this very, very claustrophobic atmosphere here at the Bloomsbury Centre. Another good left hand from Kelly. This is his best round so far. Getting in through Henty's defence, and really it's a question of how long Henty can keep him at bay, can keep his boxing brain going, because Kelly is coming on strong now. There's a bit of blood just wiped away from Steve Henty's nose. Another the reason for his rather indifferent record. He didn't take the game all that seriously, but apparently he's settled down now. And he has been really on the wrong end of one or two big ones, and that left was probably the biggest so far. He's really got to keep out of trouble, and there's a right uppercut too. Rocky Kelly. Shared 120 pounds in Nobbins after his fight against Gary Knight, and he's got to the stage where he's disappointed when the money doesn't flow at the end of the contest.
Round 4.
Fourth round then, good even fight so far between Rocky Kelly in black, the puncher, and Steve Henty wearing the blue trunks from Brighton, the craftsman who's been on the defence and has been caught once or twice, particularly in the third round. And Kelly, I got the impression towards the end of that third round, warming to his task now. The explosive Rocky Kelly, that's what he's got on his trunks. And he's might just be getting the match now to light the blue touch paper. Two-minute rounds, these. Kelly has been coming on towards the end of them very strongly. Halfway through this one. Good right hand too, and Henty took a step back. And he's bleeding from the nose too. Left this time, two good lefts. Again, Henty on the retreat and holding on. Kelly is boring Paul. That was a good right too. And Henty is having to retreat now. This is a real hard round for him, and you wonder if he can survive it. Looks as though his legs went there, bleeding from the nose. Kelly is boring in, that's why the crowds love him. Head rock back for Henty. What a difficult round for him, and what a good one for Kelly. And another good right hand too, and he stopped it. Well, Rocky Kelly, the winner. We said he was simmering, waiting to explode. Steve Henty might have felt that stoppage was premature, but he was really taking a lot of leather right in the face there. And another very impressive workout from Rocky Kelly. Let's see how it finished. Well, Henty, nose-blooded, had been on the retreat for a couple of rounds. And at this stage, he stopped some very big punches indeed. There was a left that went in, big right hand too, legs buckled. And really taking that punishment, referee Jack Snipe had no alternative but to intervene.
So, well done to Rocky Kelly. He always does give good value for money, doesn't he? The other results tonight, just to bring you right up to date, Martin Patrick from Tottenham had a points victory over Mark Kelly from Stoke. In a light middleweight contest, Darwin Brewster from Cardiff beat Stevie Johnson from Islington on points over 8 rounds. And a draw in the last fight. The match just finished about 5 minutes ago between the welterweights, Johnny Andrews of Stepney and Judas Clotty. That's quite a name, isn't it? But the big result tonight, of course, the heavyweight battle. Joe Bugner stopped Eddie Nielsen in 5 rounds. And what now for Joe Bugner? That's the question. Well, the man himself, his wife Marlene, and manager and promoter Frank Warren are all now talking with Simon Reed. Simon?
Joe, just half an hour after the fight's ended, I suppose it's not really time for true reflection yet, but can you really get your thoughts together and assess what Joe Bugner's second fight and his comeback meant?
Well, I can tell you one thing, Simon. My thoughts are very, very stable, and I can give you a definite and a very clear answer to the fight tonight. I think Eddie Nielsen did a courageous job. I honestly believe that he was definitely outclassed. But regardless of all that, I think credit goes to him for being courageous and to stand there for 5 rounds after a very serious cut. I think, you know, all credit goes to him. Of course, Joe Bugner comes first.
He must take a lot of credit. He was landing some very crisp blows early on. Was that something you'd worked on to really be positive in the opening seconds?
Well, you just happened to say that he landed them. I think I landed them.
No, I said you did.
Oh, thank you, Simon. No, yes, I was very determined to take him out in the first round. Then I realized that, you know, Nielsen was not in there to be taken out, and he was in there full of heart. And when you see, an old-timer like myself, you know, with 60-odd professional fights under his belt, you do know what's going on in the ring. And I saw that this guy was in there to be there, you know, and he wasn't going to lie down and look for a little corner to say, hey, that's enough. I was very impressed with Eddie Nielsen. I think, really, he's a first-class guy.
It was really hot out there, Joe. Did you feel that? It was hot just talking. I don't know what it was like fighting.
Gee, you know, the hottest place I thought was Malaysia when I fought Muhammad Ali in 1975. Believe me, this place tonight was even worse. I mean, you can see me right now. I've only done 5 rounds, but it's very hot. It must have been at least 120 in there today.
If I can turn now to Frank. Everyone now wants to know, Frank, what the future is for Joe Bugner. Well, what is it?
Joe will be boxing on February the 16th at the Alexandra Pavilion in London. We'll be hopefully announcing the opponent tomorrow. If you think it was hot here tonight, you'd be in the pavilion at Alexandra Palace on the 16th and you're going to see some heat. Joe Bugner is showing his true worth at the moment.
Sounds like a good promoter there, but what about the opponent? I mean, is there a chance of getting the European champion, Rodriguez, from France over?
Of course, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for Rodriguez. And
There better be Frank.
You promised him that.
There's going to be trouble.
It'll probably be me the way things are going. No. We're looking for Rodriguez, and after Rodriguez, Holmes in London.
That sounds pretty optimistic, Holmes in London. Can you honestly think that the money can be brought together to get Holmes in London?
Holmes has fought everybody in the top 10. He's looking for opponents. If Joe beats Rodriguez, who's rated number 9 in the world, Joe takes his ranking, it'll be Holmes.
And in London?
In London.
Bloomsbury Crest Hotel.
In London.
Bloomsbury Crest.
You saw David Pearce and you saw Frank Bruno earlier in the week. Do you think that Joe Bugner is a class above those? You called Eddie Nielsen a Class B heavyweight. Do you think they're Class B heavyweights?
You mean Bruno?
Bruno or Pearce?
No, I think Bruno's a C. I think Eddie Nielsen would knock Bruno out personally, because he has far too much experience and far too much heart. I think the caliber of people that Bruno has been fighting up till now have not actually tested Bruno. I'm not taking away anything from Bruno, because I think what he has done up till now has been first class, but against opposition that have not shown anything. You cannot tell me that a kid who has, say, 1 or 2 rounds is a world-class contender.
And a final word from you, Marlene. Are you happy for him to carry on fighting very quickly, or do you want to break?
What do you mean very quickly? We're going home for Christmas, and when we come back on the 12th, then I'll think about it again.
Good. Congratulations to you all. Derek.
Thank you, Simon.
Well, they're going to America for their Christmas, and I tell you what, we'll be going to America on Saturday night, because there's more top-class international boxing coming up on ITV. It's the WBA Heavyweight Championship of the world between the holder, Mike Weaver, and the #1 contender, Dynamite Dokes. That comes from Las Vegas, Saturday night, 10:40, here on ITV. Well, that should be quite a battle, and I hope you've enjoyed it tonight. And Joe Bugner showing yet again, even at the age of 32, still one of the best heavyweights around. From us all at the Bloomsbury Crest, a very good night to you.